What is up, everyone, and welcome to the most magical show in the keyboard community. I'm your host, Merlin, and if it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining in. This channel is all about building keyboards from the hardware to the software end, and tonight we are doing software. If it's your first time on my Tuesday streams are typically me programming QMK or something else while I do a little bit of drinking. Porting with ports. Today's port, let's see. Let me show you guys what I'm drinking today. Today's port is, oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher the name here. Quinta das Carvalhas. It's a 10-year-old Tawny Porto, matured in wood. 20% alcohol per 750 milliliter. This is probably one of the higher alcohol content ports I've brought on stream. It's also roughly $28, $29 bought at your favorite grocery store. I got this from Whole Foods, I believe. And yeah, let's go figure it out. Let's see how it tastes. According to the tasting notes, if you guys do !build, oh, not build, sorry. !drink. There are some tasting notes there. Basically, it's supposed to have deep aromas of caramel, sun-dried raisins, and baking spices that contribute to a medium-bodied palate with medium sweetness and a long candied brown sugar finish. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We shall see. Ooh, looks like I'm a little too loud. Let me lower that volume a little bit. There we go. Okay. Potley says, drunk already. Nathan Bear says, Whole Foods, what are you, rich? I try to buy wine from different locations. I've kind of exhausted all of the wine from my local grocery store, so I do have to look elsewhere. Yeah, let's see. Who's on today anyway? Wow, 22 viewers right now. I see Potley, I see Nathan Bear, see Dog Hair Don't Cut, Dior Bag, Jeremy57, Keone. Let's see who else. Yeah, thanks guys for joining in. Let's see. Can I really taste all of that caramel, all of that sun-dried raisins? I can taste the raisin. I'm not sure about the caramel. Yeah, I can definitely taste the raisin. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. Beware of Pixels. Hello to you too. Thanks guys for joining in. So typically on Tuesdays, I like to bring out stuff that I've recently received in the mail. The first thing I received in the mail are these. And you're like, Merlin, what the hell is this? You can see they're little O-rings in black. And the reason why is because when I built the Satisfaction 75, turns out Canon Keys did not send me an extra one. So one of my burger mounts does not have an O-ring. So I figured I'd just buy my own. So maybe before the Vancouver meetup, I'll put these on. And I'll finally know what true burger mount feels like. The second thing I got, I didn't really get too many things this week, are these things. Look at that. This is a Novelkeys desk mat, and I got two. Why would you buy two? Well, you buy two because you want three. So I bought three of them. So the reason why I bought three is because, as I said earlier, I'm going to the Vancouver meetup. And usually when you go to a meetup, you can't, there's no guarantee what the tables are like. Like, what if they're made out of metal? What if they're not soft and you put your keyboards on it and people just pick up your boards or like drop it sometimes. You want a nice, soft landing for all of them. So I figured I'd buy 3 so I can display all of my boards and feel safe about them. And no, if you notice, these are not his A stocks. These are his B stocks. These are $7, guys. My original plan was to go to Best Buy and pick out their cheapest desk mats, but they were all still like $17, $15, $18. So I looked at Novelkeys and $7. Look at that. $7. Bought 3. So basically for the price of 1, I bought 3. Yeah, I will be bringing these to the meetup on Saturday. What meetup, you might ask? The Vancouver, Canada meetup. It'll be my first international meetup, if you can count Canada as an international place to go to coming from the United States. Nathan Bear says, oh man, oh, that's pretty strong. Nathan Bear says, will you be adding Dawn to your group buy list? I will once it goes into group buy. I don't think the Dawn is in group buy yet. It's still in IC phase. I've not seen anything pop up. Raywood says, why buy 1 when you can buy 3? If someone dropped my budget acrylic KB, I'd go insane. You're going to KeyCon, right? Yes, I'm going to KeyCon. I have not bought my tickets yet, but I did buy, well, I did register for the meetup. I just haven't bought my plane tickets quite yet. But yeah, if any of you guys are going to be at the Vancouver meetup, drop by, say hello, check out my little table. Haven't quite decided what I'm bringing yet, but most likely the Satisfaction 75. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Okay. As I was saying, today is a keyboard programming stream. So what we're doing tonight is putting in VIA support for the Dz60, or the Dz60rgb-ansi VIA. I have mine in a fail case. Look at that. So let's pull it out to show off what I have it in. So a while back, probably like October of last year, I kept getting a bunch of questions about the Dz60, about like flashing instructions and all that. And, you know, me not having an actual board or not having an actual ARM board, I was at a loss as to what people were saying. It's like I would be, you know, sometimes one-on-one, sometimes video chat, and being like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I finally got to the point where I reached out to Wei and I was like, hey man, I've been helping out a lot of your customers. Do you think I could like get a PCV as a sample? So he said, yeah, sure, no worries. So he sent me one and I've put it in here. As a result, I now have actual hardware to test VIA on, so that's great. Botanical Keyboard says, I need my hands on a fail. I like its aesthetics. This is quite possibly my heaviest and most expensive tray mount. And when Mechanist sent it to me, he didn't tell me that he was going to send it in purple, because if I knew it was in purple, I would have declined, because I can't really see the purple. Like, I know this is purple just looking at it, but as to what shade of purple, I can't really tell. So I picked a key set that has purple on it. Do you guys think it matches with Hyperfuse? Potlay says, are you colorblind? I am partially colorblind to purple. I can't see shades of purple. But do you guys think the case matches DSA Hyperfuse? What do you guys think? It's a good match. That's good, because I can't tell. Yeah, it's this is probably the last tray mount. No, actually no. This is the second to last tray mount acquisition that I got. My latest tray mount was actually this past build stream. I built a tofu for the first time. What's with the gap between space and right alt? I don't know. It's just how it is, I guess. Long says, my flux is on, so not judging colors right now. Yeah. You think it's the angle of the camera. There is definitely a small space there, but it's not any different than the space between each of the other ones. Keycaps, this is DSA Hyperfuse. What's on my satisfaction is GMK Mizu. You think it would look nice to look at it from the inside at the bottom. Well, the actual design is that, you know? How much better is this than the tofu? Why don't we take a look? Why don't we take a look? Let me just grab the tofu. There we go. Here's the tofu. So I have a hot pink tofu. If you guys missed the build stream on Sunday. Hot pink tofu with... This is actually built to be my newest reference build. It's probably the lightest tray mount I have ever held. This is extremely light. I feel like it's as light as a poker. But yeah, this one has Gateron yellows. This one has Zeal V1s. I think these are 62G. Yeah, it's hot pink. I like it. I could not find my entire white on black set. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the house. So I figured I'd put orange on black on it first. Let's see. This is hella sharp. People weren't joking. I feel like I could cut something, kind of like what Nathan did. It's super sharp. A little piece says, it might be the camera, but it is supposed to look more pink than that. Looking at my screen, that's pretty spot on. But I'm also colorblind, so I could be completely off base here. Looks red to me, but you're also partially colorblind. Jeez. Just in case you're new to this channel, being colorblind is not a requirement to watch. Yeah. But yeah, okay, so to answer your question, there is absolutely no comparison between the tofu and the fiel. Like, this is, well, okay, so first off, differences. I have an aluminum plate. Brass plate, you know? So it's not like I can completely do an apples to apples comparison. But in terms of overall feel and anodization, the fiel is definitely on a different league. Like the tofu feels kind of cheap when I hold it. And like the anodization, it almost feels like I can rub it off because I'm leaving so many fingerprints on it. Yeah, so that's pretty much my quick review between the two. Is the tofu a fiel? Absolutely not. Potlight says, looks orange to me too, but I never calibrated my monitor. You could all just be colorblind. Nathan Bear says, Merlin, what is your preference of copper plate versus brass plate? I can't answer that question because I've never typed on a copper plate. Comparing to aluminum, I much prefer brass over aluminum. So I'm actually representing 3 different plates here. That's a palm plate, it's a brass plate, that's an aluminum plate. How do we know we experience colors exactly the same? That's a good question. That's a good question. You know, if when in doubt, just buy GMK Handerbyte. It's funny because it's like a lot of people debate over GMK colors. And they're like, oh, this set looks like crap. Oh, this set is so beautiful. What if everyone who was debating that was actually colorblind? All right, let's see. Let's talk a little bit more about this PCB. Yeah, for those of you who have been joining in the last couple of days, you may have noticed that my camera tends to freeze a lot, or like my stream tends to freeze a lot. That's because I started using the Camlink 4K, and for some reason, not all the time, it would just completely freeze, and the only way to fix it was to unplug, replug, restart it on OBS. After some reading, I found out that people solved this issue by just plugging it into a hub. So I'm like, so right now it's on a hub, and it's been going strong for the last almost half hour. So hopefully it will stay the same throughout the entire stream. But yeah, definitely ping me if you guys see it go down before I do. All right, what we are putting VIA support in today is the Dz60rgb-ansi. If you go on KBD fans, there's only the V2 left, I believe. So what's the difference? Like, okay, so V1 has an ARM chip, and, well, okay, if you're just comparing the two, the major difference is one has ARM, V1 has ARM, V2 has ATmega32U4. So that's a bin file and a hex file. So just make sure that you know the difference. The other major difference is that V2 has an ESD protection chip. V1 does not. If you were to buy a Dz60rgb-ansi today, fresh from KBD fans, absolutely try and get the V2. But because I got mine way back in October, I am stuck with V1. So this is me. This is me here. Okay. So what else about this PCB? Currently retails for $55. Oh yeah, if you try to order from KBD fans right now, they're in China. And number one, they are just leaving their Chinese New Year holidays. So there's holidays. And if you haven't been paying attention to the news, they are in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak. There are tons of people affected, and several hundred have already died. As a result, the government is, I believe, telling people to go back to work at a much later date than they originally anticipated. So if you buy anything from China, not just keyboards, or if the vendor you've bought something from is manufacturing in China, fully expect delays. How long of a delay? I believe KBD fans is supposed to return to work February 17th, but that's been postponed twice already, from February 2nd to February 8th, and now February 17th. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, just a little piece says, so optimistic delay is March. Well, probably. We don't know when China will get this virus under control. We'll see. None of it is confirmed. We don't know when people will resume shipping. So who knows? Just be aware that if you choose to buy this PCB, or anything from China, that there will be significant delays. Jeremy57 says, I'm going to Korea on the 21st. Wish me luck. Well, from what I've read, nothing's really happening in Korea. I hope. It's mainly been contained within China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore. So you should be good. Just don't. If you do lay over in any of those affected countries, make sure you have a mask of sorts. That's all I can say. But yeah, going back to this. Oh, look. Okay, so the V2 is black, and it actually is labeled Dz60rgb-V2, whereas the V1 is purple, and it's only labeled Dz60rgb. Interesting, I'm also seeing the QMK logo on the PCB. I'm not sure if they talked to us about that. I'll check with Jack, but typically you're not supposed to put people's logos on without first asking them. Okay, interesting. Popcorn time. Or melons, I guess. All right. Free advertising. Sure, free advertising. Okay, so let's talk about VIA. If you guys have never seen VIA before, VIA is a GUI that sits on top of QMK. So what do I mean by that? Think of your webcam, right? Your webcam has software on it that lets it, focus, lets it adjust the colors. If you have a 922C, then you also have LEDs on it that light up when it's on. That there's all software that controls that. That's what's called the firmware. For you as an end user to control the camera, to adjust its brightness, adjust its focus, you probably have something like, what's it called? Like the Logitech Pro Tools or something. That's the GUI tool. So that's like VIA. And QMK firmware is the firmware that goes on like the camera. And what's so beneficial about VIA right now is that prior to VIA coming out, if you wanted to flash your keyboard, if you wanted to change the key map on your board, you needed to go into QMK, change your key map, and reflash your board every single time. Doesn't matter if it's you just wanted to change where your backspace was, where your FN key was, or if you just wanted to change the colors of your light, you still needed to flash your board. With VIA, you don't have to. You just have to flash it once, plug it in, and the GUI takes care of all the remapping, takes care of all of the lighting for you. In fact, I do not have the keyboard, so I will not show you a demo, but hopefully when I'm done, you guys will see the demo. So yeah, in order to do this whole process, it's a lot simpler than getting a board into QMK. One of the requirements needed is that the board already needs to exist in QMK. Brian Bo says, can QMK run on iOS? I mean, could there be VIA for iOS? Maybe in the future. Maybe. Yeah. Nathan Bear says, I flashed my KBD75V2 like 10 times trying out different layouts. If you had VIA for your KBD75, you would have just had to flash that once, and then every time you want to change something, you just change it on your GUI. No need for flashing. So that's the cool part. But yeah, let's talk about how to actually do this. Yeah, let me set this up really quick. Let me set it up real quick. Okay, should be good really soon. Come on, VS Code, show up. Bingo. All right. Okay, that's actually not what I wanted. Let us... There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Let's play some music too while we're at it. This is coding stuff. Sometimes it's a lot more relaxing watching someone code with music in the background and some wine. So if you guys have an alcoholic beverage of choice, now is the appropriate time to open it up. Ross says, can someone tell me the name of the purple pink case? The purple case is the fiel, the pink case was the tofu. All right, I think the music's playing. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so as I said earlier, KBD Fans has an amazing naming scheme. You absolutely will not be confused as to what keyboard you have. In our case, we have the Dz60rgb-ansi. And to be specific, it's the V1 variant, like so. So to do VIA from like a high level point of view, you need to do two things. Number one, you need to create a key map named VIA. And that's it. That's all you have to do for the QMK firmware side of things. Number two, you need to create a JSON file that's influenced by keyboard layout editor. And basically, it's just a lot of keyboard layout editor work. Once you've done that, you can then submit it to VIA. So it's two different files, two different repositories. But once both have been approved, once both have been accepted, your board will now officially be in VIA. This, if I'm not streaming, this is literally a half-hour process, I'd say. Half-hour process. So here, let's start with the QMK portion first. Let me put the fiel away. Okay, what you're seeing here is the Dz60rgb-ansi directory. Basically, what you can do is go into key maps. There's only one directory in there right now. It's default. You can literally just copy paste it. And of course, don't call it default copy. Call it VIA. Right? Take a look at that. So VIA always dictates that you need 4 layers, so we do need to add 1 layer to that. Let's call it 3. And it can be completely empty, so let's just copy and paste a few things. Just copy and paste a few things here. Just copying and pasting it 2 at a time. Okay, so there. You need to have 4 layers defined. On top of that, you need to create a file called rules.mk. And what needs to go into this are 2 items. The first item is via_enable. All caps equals yes. What that does is it enables VIA. The second item is LTO_enable, also all caps equals yes. What LTO stands for is link time optimization. It when it's building the firmware, when it's compiling it, it puts in some optimizations that will allow you to save more room on your flash. But once that's done, here, let's do this. Once that's done, the next thing you want to check for, where is it? It's in your Oh yeah, it's in your config.h, right? Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit tricky, not because of coding, but because of standards, global standards. There is an organization called USB-IF. USB-IF basically assigns vendor IDs and product IDs to people, and you can get your own for a small sum of $5,000. That is merely 5 key cults group by purchases during the group by phase. So just a little amount of cash for those of us who have means. But typically what people do is they just, you know, they just search online for like a specific vendor ID. If it's taken, they'll pick another one. If it's not, then that's the one that they sit on. You won't really get into trouble, like as long as you're not using any of their logos, you're not infringing on their copyright. Like if they find out that you're using the vendor ID and product ID of an existing product, they'll probably just tell you to change it. They'll only fine you if you're like, hell no, I'm gonna stick on this, right? So as of right now, I'm just going to assume, just for demonstration's sake, that no one else has feed and no one else has 1220. I actually know that's not true. But for demonstration's sake, we'll just stick with this. We'll just stick with this completely. Okay? So that's really all you need to do. That's all you need to do. So next up, you just make your firmware. Oh, I forgot the path to this. Okay. DZ Dz60rgb-VIA. And we'll just see if our firmware... Oh, look at that. No rule to make VIA. I am... What am I missing here? Oh! I have the wrong path. It's not Dz60rgb, it's Dz60rgb_ansi. There we go. There we go. Now it's building. Woo! And you're done. That's it. That's all you need to do for the QMK firmware portion of VIA. That's it. After that, you just flash it onto your board, and you can flash it using your favorite method. One thing to keep in note though is that make sure your key map is sensible. Your starting key map is sensible, so that you don't have to apply so many different changes once you get VIA up and running. Like right now, I'm looking at this key map, and I'm not seeing a reset key anywhere I look. Oh, I see one. It's right there. It's on layer 1, and it's the pipe symbol. FN pipe symbol. MO1 and MO2. Okay. Cool. All right. It's got one. So now we can flash this board. So let's flash this board. Let us flash this board. Oh wait, I need to reset it, huh? Okay, this is my own key map, so I think it's just... That should do the trick. There we go, it's flashing it. Alright, yep, it's flashed. Does the board work? Okay, that's good. So your board should still work once you flash VIA on it. But to actually get, the VIA firmware on it, to actually get VIA to detect your keyboard, you now need to do something else. What you need to do, okay. So this next part is something that I'm still learning. So I'm bound to make a ton of mistakes. But if you guys want clear documentation as to what to do with this, I suggest you go to a website called caniusevia.com. So all the stuff that I'll be doing next, all of that information can be found here. All this. I'll be doing all of this. See that? So essentially, you'll be crafting this JSON file. The contents of this JSON file are, number one, the name of the keyboard. Number two, the vendor and product ID, which I talked about earlier. This needs to absolutely match what you have in QMK firmware. Next up is lighting, if you have any. Even if you don't, you still need to have it, so you can specify it as none. Next up is the matrix, all this information. All this information should already be in QMK firmware in your config.h file. Like here, let me bring that up again. We will bring up here. Okay, all that information for your matrix can be found in config.h. See, the matrix is 5 rows and 14 columns. And then after that is this layout section where key map. So by key map, it's not, this is what I don't like about how they've labeled that. The key map isn't how you've defined the action that each of your keys does. The key map is kind of more like what your keyboard looks like, I guess. Let's see. Titan says, I'm going to try to port the Nightmare to VIA. So are you having to add it to all the keyboards in QMK? I'm going to start with adding it to the keyboards that I own, because you can only get so far in VIA, which you'll see later. You'll see, like, it's like you won't see what you've done until you can actually plug the board with the VIA firmware in. But we shall get there, given some time. Potlight PSS says, is this something anyone can do as long as it's done correctly? Absolutely. If you go back and watch this stream later, I guarantee if you follow all the steps that I've done, you too can add VIA support to your favorite board. I might add though that this does not work on boards that have the Atmega 32A microcontroller. So if you have anything that used to be bootmapper client, or if you have any of, who makes boards with Atmega 32A? Cozy Fanatuti has the Discipline. I think his Mysterium has it too, and his 40% has it too. Those don't work quite yet, but give us time. Eventually, something will happen. Okay, so basically, if you guys want to follow along, just read this whole documentation and you'll be able to do what I do. But for now, let's start with Keyboard Layout Editor. Like so. Okay, this is as you guys can see, the Dz60rgb-ansi is your typical run-of-the-mill 60% board. It's got the 6.25U spacebar, 1.25U bottom row modifiers, 2.75U right shift, 2.25U left shift. It's as basic as it comes, 2U backspace. So what you can do once you get to Keyboard Layout Editor is click on Preset and click on default 60%. And this is what you'll get. Yeah. So how does this work? Okay. So typically what I like to do is remove all of the legends. And what's missing in VIA documentation is how you color these keys. Based on how you color them, it shows up differently in VIA. So for example, we can probably call the key color. You'll see all of this later once I actually load it into VIA. But we're just going to do a couple of these like so. We're gonna do it similar to GMK Olivia, just because, you know, Olivia made VIA. So we're gonna follow that original color scheme in which you had a colored spacebar. And I'm trying to remember what the other colors were. Let's see. Oh, I'm actually gonna look at some of my notes here really quick. I have to figure out, I can't remember what color they need to be. They need to be, okay, I remember now. Okay. So the accents have to be 77777. The mods can be CCCCC, or, oh God, I just completely forgot it again. It's A, okay, okay. So here, let's just do them on the modifiers. There we go, that looks good. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of messages here. Let me catch up, guys. I've been focusing on this. Charankov11 says, what about hand-wired keyboard? Can I do it too? Absolutely. As long as you, like most hand-wired keyboards I've seen use either a Pro Micro or something with an Atmega 32U4. So as long as you make the keyboard layout correctly, you should be fine. Nathan Bear says, gotta pee. See you later. See you later too. Lee Benningfield says, what's the CFT 40%? I don't know what that is. Let's see. Exclamation point song. No, I do not advertise what those songs are with the bot. Ifo Handcroft says, good evening. I have to go at 6 a.m. but had to ask before I forget. When you ported the Dz60rgb to VIA, you ported multiple profiles. Does the PCB support them all, or is the multiple layout porting done just in case someone decides to skip some switches for HHKB layout, for example? It's not in VIA yet. It's still in PR. But the Dz60rgb is a solderable board, so it does support multiple layouts. iPhone Handcraft says, if the PCB is a single layout, do you port just it to VIA and you're done? Well, I have an example of just a single layout board because this is a hot swap board. So you'll get to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay. So after you've done this, you do need to populate the keys. So get this. You need to pay attention to the top left of each key. Let's do this. We're just gonna start it off like that. I'll explain what I'm doing after I've done a lot of this. Oops. Okay. What I'm doing here is labeling each of the keys as to what row they are and what column they are. For VIA, the very top row, typically where your escape key, is row 0, column 0. And it just goes from there. 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0. And because I'm lazy, I've labeled everything just the same right now, as long as they're part of the same row. To get the information for this, you need to go back into QMK. So let's do that really quick. Okay. So the information you need for this is located in your keyboards.h file. This guy right here. So not everyone follows the same nomenclature, but typically how this is read is the first number represents the row, the second number represents the column. So when you get up here, A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, and D is 13. So it goes from 0 through 13. You want to imitate this into Keyboard Layout Editor. So you can see from the very top rows here, it goes from 0 to 13 just fine. So let's go back. Man, there's like so much switching I'm doing here. But here, I'll get the hang of it. So we know that the two top rows go from 0 to 13 just fine. So we can just start labeling it like so. Oh wait, that's not gonna work. 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on says, do you have a podcast for this? I don't think a podcast is the best medium for describing coding. So no, I have never considered making a podcast for this. Just because imagine if there's, here. Imagine if this is all that you saw, and I'm looking at the keyboard layout editor right here, then I'm changing the top left key, I'm putting 0, 1 from 0 to 13, yada, 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 without any kind of visual. That's what the podcast would be, and people would be incredibly lost. So yeah, no, we are not doing that. But yeah, as I'm going through here, I'm basically just following along. 11. I keep trying to press my fail when it's supposed to be my satisfaction that I'm typing on. 12. And 13. Then the same goes for this second layer. Or the second row, I mean. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so I'm just gonna save that so I don't lose it. We'll call this the Dz60rgb-ansi VIA, in case anything goes wrong, so that I don't lose this. So once again, we have to go back to QMK and taking a look at this chart right here. Okay, the next line goes from 0 all the way till 10, 11. It skips 12. So that's what we got to do next. So that I don't get mixed up, I'll do 13. Skips 12, remember? Goes 11. Just work backwards from that point. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Let's go back to QMK and look at that next row. The next row skips 1. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. They just put a stupid row there. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it skips 11. No, wait. It's B. So it'd be 10, 11. It skips 12 and 13. That's what it does. It skips 12 and 13. We go back. $11, because it's skipping 12 and 13. I just like working backwards. I tend to forget numbers, especially when I am almost done with the 1 glass of wine. I tend to make mistakes a lot easier. So sooner or later, I or someone else will try and automate this process so you don't have to go and do this completely. All right. So for the last row, let's go back and take a look. This guy is 0, 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, 11, 13. Okay, I know I'm going to have a hard time remembering that. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 5. I'm just populating the KLE right now, just off screen so I can remember. Those last 4 are 9, 10, 11, and 13. 9, 10, 11, 13. I can remember that. Nine, 10, 11, 13. Okay, once you've done that, you should be done with the KLE portion of QMK, of VIA. So we're very lucky here because this is just a hotshot board and most hotshot boards only have 1 layout, so we can stop here. What happens on other boards, such as the one up 60RGB that people were recommending earlier, is that you need to add the other layouts. So for example, okay, just to show a quick example of how that's done. For example, you wanted to do the HHKB bottom row, right? Let me just copy this. So what you want to do is copy it. I can do it properly. There we go. There we go. What you want to do is do this. And how does HHKB look? And delete that. Let's add a 7. Let's make that a 7U for proper HHKB. Make that 1.5. 1.5. You may be wondering, Merlin, why don't you just remove the keys? Well, you can, but that's not what VIA recommends. What you need to do in this case is actually make these side guys right here. Oops. You need to make them into decals. Like that. And you need to be absolutely sure that these keys are correct. So go back to QMK firmware and make sure that these numbers are correct. I'm going to assume that this is correct. And what you need to do next is go to the bottom. This is the bottom legend, bottom right legend, and you specify 0, 0. What these two numbers mean, like the first number is, think of it as group number, and the second number is option number. So in this case, this entire bottom row is your group. So option 0 is the standard layout. Option 2 or option 1 of the same group would be like that. So if you had Sanguine, then that would be group 0, option 2. If you had some other crazy bottom row layout, it would still be group 0, option 3, 4, 5, and 6. Your right shift can be another group. So instead of group 0, that would be something like 1. And then you can put all your different options there. Right? But here, let's just take it all out again. Because this is only a single layout board, because hot swap, we don't have to worry about any of that at all. That's fine. iPhone Handcraft says, thanks, this just answered my question. Thanks for explaining while you're doing it. You were able to port your board following my VOD. Yeah, this is the reason why I do this, so everyone can do it. Okay, short story. When I first got involved in QMK, we had roughly 120 boards. And No Roads and I were the ones responsible for putting a lot of them into QMK configurator. But even with boards in like the 100-ish range and with boards being added most weeks, it still took us several months. There are over 600 boards now. Who has the time for that, right? So if you guys want to help out, if you're confident in your Git skills and your keyboard layout editing skills, and you're able to read QMK firmware and be like, okay, this is the layout macro. This means it's row X, column Y. Yeah, please help out. Please help out. Know that it is also two different repositories. There's the QMK repository, in which I am a maintainer on. And then there's the VIA repository, which is run by Wilba, Olivia, and the rest of their team. So that's two different groups of people that you submit this project to. So each side has their own list of requirements. So if you do want to help out, please be sure that you adhere to those different requirements. Okay, where was I? All right, okay, yeah. So this is all you need for now for the keyboard layout editor. Next up, let me set up this next portion. This is the part that you actually... How can I do this? Let me just prep this up for you guys. Okay, okay. I think I got it. Okay. This next bit is not QMK firmware. This next bit is VIA. So one of the repos that VIA has is called keyboards. So make sure you get the keyboards repo. Like VIA has the website, has firmware, which I believe is forked off of QMK. They have a bunch of different projects, similar to how QMK has toolbox, firmware, API, configurator. It's like the same deal. But the one you want is keyboards. And while you're in the keyboards directory, you want to navigate to the source directory like so. You can see all of these are different vendor names, manufacturers, so forth and so on. Right? Uh-oh. That shouldn't be there. But, okay. So what we want to do is actually go into other. And I believe the KBD fans boards are still in here. There we go. See, KBD67. So what you want to do, especially if this is a brand new board, here we go, Dz60, you just want to create a directory. Let's call it Dz60rgb-ansi, like so. And then within it, you want to do a v1 directory. I really don't know what their suggested naming scheme is, but we're just going to assume it's like this. I won't actually file the PR until I'm ready. But here we go. Let's rename it. It needs to be a .json. It can't just be a random file like so. All right. So what we're going to do, just as a good starting point, is to copy and paste something that's already there, like that, and modify it as so. In this case, we want, let's give it an appropriate name, Dz60rgb-ansi V1, and vendor ID and product ID, that I do not know. What was it? It was feed and 1220. Feed 1220. In this particular case, it's not RGB light underglow, and it's not backlight. So for now, we should just set it to none. You'll see why later. In terms of the rows and columns, what was it? 5 and 14. That's good. And we don't actually need the labels because we only have one layout, so we can take all of that out for now. Okay, this is the good part right here. But before we go into that, Braz1623 says, is this a website you're showing or a program? A website that I'm showing. I'm showing off a lot of things right now. I'm showing how to program part of VIA to support your board, and I'm rotating between websites that are telling me what to do and other code that I've written because I tend to forget. This is only the third board that I've done it for, so I'm still learning as I go along. And I feel like the best way to truly learn something is to teach it. So this is also my way of learning. Okay, so this next part here, this key map bit, this is where your keyboard layout editor goes. So for now, highlight from this first bracket all the way to that other bracket, not the parentheses, but the bracket, and press delete. And I realize I'm not even showing the right one. Let me shoots. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Okay. This section right here, you can remove all of this. This is not useful. You can take out labels like so. All you want is key map. You can even take out presets. We don't need that right now. Not quite yet. Like that. And as I was saying earlier, while I was confused, you can highlight from the bracket to the next bracket, the very bottom bracket. Delete that for now. Okay? So what then? The next thing you need to do is actually go into back to keyboard layout editor, like so. And unlike QMK, it's not raw data that you need, but you actually need to go to properties, like so, and click download JSON. And once your JSON has been downloaded, feel free to open it up, and you should get something like this. See that? I've been told that you don't actually need the name, so we're gonna take out the name right here. Let's take that out. And just copy the whole thing. Go back to where you were with Dz60rgb, right there, and hit paste. And you're done with the info.json file. So let's actually see this in action. Let's see this in action. Let's see. Let me actually pull up VIA really quick so you guys can all see what's happening. There we go. VIA. Okay, searching for devices. Obviously, we're not ready yet. So what you want to do is go to the design tab like that. Okay? If you have just downloaded VIA, you might not have the design tab. So you have to go into settings and toggle it. See? It disappears. See that? So leave it on. Go to design. And while you're in design, press load. Press load and it should come up with a dialog box in which you can now search for that JSON file that you created. So let me just load it up. And if all is well, if you did this correctly, you won't have any error messages pop up. Ta-da! I had no error messages, so I did this correctly, like so. Okay? So now that you have it in place, let's take a look at what happens if I... Ooh, let's do that. Okay. So you want to click on configure. Right, configure. And then plug your board in. Assuming you have the VIA firmware flashed on your board and you have the correct JSON file loaded into VIA, all it takes is plugging in your board. So we'll see. Did I do this correct? And it's not loading. It's not loading. Mm-mm. Yeah, that should have worked. Let me try again. There we go. There we go. Just a tiny glitch. But yeah, here we go. You can see it now. And so from the looks of this, I did this correctly, I think. So hold on. Kind of. I'm a little bit off here, guys. Jack Static says newest version of VIA. Sometimes I accidentally open the old one. Please delete the old one. Okay. See, so I don't know what's going on here. Let me just double check. Let me pull something out here. What does this do? That is indeed a Z key. What is this layout? This layout, like, I think I did something wrong, so I need to look back at the keyboard layout editor. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong here, but let's take a look at it again. Okay, I am going to take a look at, here we go. We're going to take a look at this guy right here. I probably messed something up here. I don't know what. Take a look. I'm going to compare this again, just off screen really quick, to what QMK Firmware was telling me. Zero to 13, 0 to 13. Just comparing this off screen really quick. It feels like I'm missing. Starting from that second row, something went very wrong. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's correct. What's going on here? And then the next one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Just double checking my work because something's obviously off. I don't know what. Zero, 1, 2, 5. Oop. Couple people are asking. Should I go with the latest or the VIA 1.2.3? I would say just always go for the latest. Nebulan says, is that DSA or SA Hyperfuse? This is DSA Hyperfuse. I don't like SA. Chameleon says hello. Hello to you too. Rainbow Roll says split backspace. I do not believe in split backspace. Janky Render says, when are you driving up for the Vancouver meetup? I should be there before lunch on Saturday. That's my plan at least. Latest did nothing. Well, I don't know what you're planning on doing with VIA. Nebulant loves DSA Hyperfuse. Ah, Nebulant, I feel like a lot of the key sets that I've liked, you've also liked. So I'm I'm not surprised there. We've tended to like the same things over and over again. So I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong here, because it looks like I have things shifted. Okay, I'm gonna solicit some help from the audience. Do you guys see anything here that would be like I jumped rows or I missed a column? Because if you look at my VIA, if you look at my VIA, it implies that my very top row is fine. But then this kind of gets messed up right here. That's really odd. It's very, very odd. That's the correct size. So what's going on here? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. Oh, hold on. Okay. I wonder if it's... No, that can't be it. No. 5 by 14. Did I screw up the JSON? Yes, I absolutely screwed up the JSON. Here, let's go load that again. I got it, guys. I figured it out. Oh, I need to reload that JSON that I did. See, this is another reason why you can't really do this unless you have the hardware. Because based on this, I did this correct. This is as far as you can get. This is as far as you can get without hardware. And just looking at that, you're like, I absolutely did that correct. But as you guys just saw, I did not do that correct. Ta-da! Everything is well in the world. All is as it should be. And we have just put VIA support for the Dz60rgb v1. Or Dz60rgb-ansi V1. Here, let me try and catch up with chat. There's a lot of people talking tonight. Ooh, Nebulant! You used 100 bits? Thanks, man. Marco in the house has followed. Thank you so much. Girl Azo has followed as well. Strix970 has followed as well. Thank you so much, guys. Cool. But yeah, that is how you get VIA support for your keyboard. So here, just to provide a quick demonstration of some... Actually, what's a better board to show here? I think this might be a better board to show. Yeah, I know, that's kind of a little bit off because I pressed it earlier. But here, this is a better board to show. Show the awesome lighting. This is a Series 60 running one of Wilbus PCBs, the Dz60. So what we're gonna do, lighting. I'm gonna show you some of the beautiful things here. We will do, oh, so many different colors. Do solid color, all red. Let's pick here. I think it'd be better if I show it like that. There we go. There, it's in focus now. Pink, blue, yellow, red, white. See, all I'm doing is clicking the colors. Super simple. See, I like blue. You guys haven't guessed yet. My theme is blue. I'm glowing blue right now, so why shouldn't my keyboard be blue as well? See, it's super simple, and it's the same with the key map here. Like, you can change W to be whatever you want. Here, I'm gonna type in chat, right? Watch this. I'm gonna change my A key. Change my A key right there. I'm typing in chat right now. I'm pressing A, enter. That's all A's, right? Let's change A to U, like so, right? I'm gonna press that same key. Make sure I'm focused in chat. I'm pressing A, right? Or when I press enter, it's U. Let me change that back to an A so people can type properly. Pressing the same key again, enter. It's all A's. Yeah, that's just how simple it is to change your key map. Super simple. And now that I'm looking at it from above, I actually don't want solid color. I want radial, all hues. Just like that. So I get all the colors of the rainbow. Perfect. Yeah. So I couldn't really show this with the Dz60rgb just because I had no way of controlling the lighting on that as well. Let me take that out. Let's go back to the Dz60. There we go. But yeah, that's the power of VIA. And I personally would like to see it on a lot of boards. But it's going to take a lot of work. This channel's all about putting more boards into QMK and also building boards for customers. Here, there we go. Yeah, on Saturdays I build keyboards. On Tuesdays I build software for keyboards. So usually on Tuesdays I take a board that's not in QMK and I get QMK onto it. Now that I'm learning how to do VIA, it will now be part of my workflow. So any board that I port into QMK will also have VIA. You know, why not, right? Why not? Just heard a loud sound outside. I think someone's throwing something in the dumpster or so. Yeah, so that's really all it takes. Let's see. I started at 7:30 and I was talking a lot and showing off components and drinking wine. It's now 8:55, so that's about an hour and 25 minutes. Yeah, so if you go slow, it will take an hour and 25 minutes. If you actually focus and do what I did without talking to anyone, I'm confident you can do the whole process within an hour. Racing Giraffe says, VIA is great, I just wish you could change every LED individually. Yes, that is still a deficiency, but hopefully soon, hopefully soon. Let's see, what time is it? Should I actually have another board to port. If you guys are seeing the title of my stream, it's called, okay, Majbritt. I learned how to pronounce that today. It's not Majbritt, it's pronounced Majbritt. And I believe it's of Norwegian descent. But the Majbritt is a Alice clone with arrow keys. And a gentleman by the name of Seb reached out to me and asked me if I could put it into QMK. So we're gonna do that really, really quick. But because I don't have actual physical hardware, I might just do the VIA portion up to the firmware side and talk with Seb later on or whenever he's free and be like, hey man, you free for the next 10-15 minutes so I can test some VIA for you? Oh yeah. Nebulan says, you going to make a directory of the firmwares you make? No, not really, but yeah, all the firmwares that I have a hand in QMK will have my name in the README. So you could search for it that way. I don't think there's any reliable way to just look for boards that Merlin ported. You know, it's not, QMK is not about the individual, it's a community project. What about VIA firmwares? From what I understand of VIA, which is admittedly very little at this point, the actual VIA tool that you download onto your computer will extract the appropriate JSON files from their repository. So as long as the code has been accepted into their repository, Nebulant, if the code that I just put in got accepted and you plugged in your Dz60 and you flashed it with the VIA firmware, you plugging it into your VIA will automatically work. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be completely wrong with that, but Olivia's not here to back me up right now, so I'm kind of on my own. She was very instrumental and super helpful two weeks ago when I first attempted this. Yeah. Where will someone get the VIA for it? Ah, very good question. So, as I was mentioning earlier, okay, so admittedly, this might be a little bit more involved than people using QMK configurator are used to, but let's just do this really quick. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see that. Yeah, this is a little bit more. Yeah, this is. I don't know what VIA has planned for this, but I think they do store all of that firmware in their tool. I'm not entirely sure, but if you're knowledgeable about QMK command line, how you do that is you basically just use the make command. So right now I'm in the QMK root directory. You do make your keyboard name, keymap name, and when you enter, when you press enter, you should make the hex file or the bin file or whatever your board needs, like I did earlier. But yeah, that's actually a very good question. I wonder if it's covered in their documentation. Let me take a look. Ah, yeah. Okay. I'm on caniusevia.com. So basically, we're just going to go on. Let's start from the very beginning so people know where. You go to read the docs, and then at the very top here, click download. Nope, that's not the file. Click supported keyboards, and then firmware downloads right there. That should be all of it. Let me post that into chat. You can spread the good news, Nebulant. See, do any of... Okay, so both of my 1UP boards are there. That's great. The KBD67 should also be there if it made it in. KBD... No, my KBD67 didn't make it in. I think this is up to date as of February 4th, and my KBD67 I think went in on the 6th. Shoots. No, I think it's manually updated. Look at that, February 4th. They probably have a release cadence, which I do not know about. So you may want to talk with Olivia or Wilba as to how often they update this list. All right. Okay. Well, before I start porting the Majbritt, I'm always so tempted to call it the Majbritt, but it's not the Majbritt. It's the Majbritt. Before I start talking about that, I do want to talk about some of my lovely sponsors on this stream, which have made this possible. And if you continue supporting them, you also indirectly support me. So just wanted to talk about some of them right now. My very first sponsor is Novelkeys. If you guys have never heard of Novelkeys, they are a US-based company located in West Virginia. They have a current group buys running right now. One of them is Cam Wraith. Let's see, let's actually go to the group buys page. One of them is Cam Wraith. It is a cam profile keycap set. One of the few in existence, if I'm not mistaken. It's based on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum from 1982. Looks pretty good in my opinion. And it's made out of PBT plastic, so this isn't gonna shine. Though I'm sure the original has completely shined by now. I think it looks pretty cool. Their next set on group buy is GMK Darling. GMK Darling is designed by a gentleman named Zerpocalypse, who I met for the very first time at SoCal last year. He was a lot taller than I expected, but I'm also a short Asian man, so everyone is taller than me. But yeah, this is his debut keycap set. You can see, I believe this ends February 28th, and so does Cam Wraith. Unfortunately, using my discount code, which is Wizard by the way, does not apply to any of these GBs. But if you use discount code Wizard on any of his other products, any of Novelkeys' other products, you will get a 5% off your entire order. And another item he has are the TKC and Novelkeys Olivia++ stabilizer kit. I just bought a few Durocs. If I had known this was coming out, I would have waited. Darn it. Oh well. Hopefully, okay. So because this is TKC, oh, I was right. These are C3s. So one thing I'm unsure about is if these are the first batch of C3s which have issues with PBT, or if this is the improved C3. I'm not sure about that. Please ask the appropriate parties if you want to know more. It looks really good. I really hope it turns out that way, because I did buy pink C3 stabs and they don't look as nice as that. They look neon pink, which I'm not too much of a fan of. But yeah, anyway, My next sponsor is DxMech. DxMech is currently running GMK Moto Lite. But yeah, if you've never heard of DxMech before, he is also another US-based vendor located in Alabama. DxMech has been part of the community for a long while. He's done a lot of GMK sets, not just designed by others, but designed by himself as well. This set runs from February 2nd till March 1st. I believe the base kit is $100, but I always get lost whenever I'm on his site. I'm like, where's the join button? I want to join. I suppose I click there. There we go. Yep, $99 from base kit. He's got a desk mat. He's got a Rama keycap and a associated cable. And if you guys have been part of the community since last year, you might remember a special event that occurred in March. Mech Madness. We are starting that up once again. Mech Madness 2020. If you don't know what Mech Madness is about, oh look at this video. Mech Madness is basically just like a play on March Madness, which is another reason why it's happening in March. But instead of basketball teams, it's keyboards. So you're gonna have like not just keyboards. So you're gonna have like a keyboard bracket. You're gonna have a keycap bracket, and basically, the community just votes on what they think is best. You know. So I don't think it starts. Oh wait, it started. Submit bracket from February 8th till 29th. So you have until the end of this month to submit your brackets. Votes start March 1st. And why would you even want to participate in this? You can win prizes. You can win some really nice prizes. So here, let's look at some of the prizes that are currently... Ooh, key set bracket prizes. What can you win? Oh, not posted yet. Not posted yet. Okay, I guess you will have to wait to know more. Right, my next sponsor is Keebio. Keebio is a fellow QMK collaborator. You may know him as Danny or Baking Pie, but he basically sells a lot of these really nice keyboard kits, mainly powered by either a Pro Micro or an Elite C or a Proton C, depending which microcontroller you like to use. But if you're looking to learn how to solder something small, something not too complicated, definitely check out his kits. I have a discount code, wizardhat, which will get you up to 15% off on select boards such as the Levinson, the Pro Micro, and I believe the Viterbi. Definitely check out Keebio. He too is a US vendor. I think almost all of my vendors, all of my sponsors are based here in the US. My next sponsor is actually my lowest or my newest seller actually. He's lowest on my list if you look at my Discord because he was my latest one. I actually just talked with him about being his affiliate last week. So one thing about Project Keyboard, is run by a guy named 159. Ever since I started this stream, 159 has been helping out in little ways. He actually helped me test out my audio in the very beginning. He's always been supporting the stream either through Serii, giveaways, and just being like an awesome guy. So I figured, out of all the sponsors that I have, he's the one that I've talked to the most, and I'm like, dude, how am I not an affiliate? So we finally made it happen. But yeah, please consider Project Keyboard for your next keyboard purchases. Right now, what's going on right now? GMK Perestroika. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Hopefully all the Russians in the audience will forgive me for my butchering of their language. But This is running from February 1st till the 29th for $129 for the base kit. I can't even read that. What is that? Can someone read that for me? What does that mean? Yeah, but okay. You got the usual, you got the unusual, and you got a modern kit as well. Yeah, definitely check him out. He just finished another group buy. I believe it was the Tengu. Yeah, it just ended on February 8th. And he was also one of 2 vendors that I know of that was selling mauve and lilac switches. So those sold out super quick. Super quick. I think they were gone in 2 days or something. But hopefully they will restock in the near future. I missed out on buying them. I kind of waited too long. But we'll see. There should be future opportunities. Yeah. Right. My next sponsor is Zeal PC, located in Vancouver, Canada, and who I'm actually meeting this coming weekend at the Vancouver meetup. I've always liked Zeal switches because I used to be a really big tactile guy, but these days I'm linear, and you guys will hear it first on this channel. But yesterday, Zeal himself contacted me. Well, was it yesterday or the day before? But he contacted me and sent me a photo. And that photo was my Xeno. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's here. I'm so excited. So when I go to the Vancouver meetup, I will be bringing home my Xeno that I bought, back in 2018. So I'm super psyched, super psyched. I can't build it the following week because I'm doing some customer builds, but I will definitely build it as soon as I'm done with the customer builds. I am just super excited that it's finally here, and yeah, I'll be a very happy man at that meetup. Nebulant says, I got mine in the mail today. Well, congratulations to you too. Now you guys will see. So the funny thing about the Xeno was I bought the Xeno so that I could put my Holy Pandas in it. So yeah, I have OG Holy Pandas that I built probably within weeks of Quakeum's discovering them. And I'm like, this is gonna go in my Xeno. And the Xeno never came. But yeah, it's finally coming next week, and I'm super excited. But yeah, definitely check out Zeal PC if you guys want some Zelio switches or Telio switches. Alright guys, let's get to porting this board. It's 9:14 p.m. right now. We are going to show you the fastest way to port a board into QMK. Here, let me just do some quick setups. But you guys are gonna like this. Okay, I feel like I have too many boards on my desk, and I feel like I might just like hit them. Which board should I use for coding? Let's see. Should I do tactile or should I do linear? I like linear. Let's do linear. Let's just put the board away properly. Okay, there we go. Good stuff right here. Okay. Let me just download the file that he wants me to download, and then we'll get straight to it. And I should probably pour myself another glass of wine. Alright. I think it's on Discord. Open up Discord. Let me get the files that I need. Where you at? where you at? Okay, so I'm reading his messages here, and I asked him, what does Majbritt mean? He says it kind of means old lady. So I guess Alice is an old lady? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let me just download that appropriate file. Okay. Let me pour myself another glass of wine. No, I feel like I was concentrating too much on what I had to do just because I'm still learning this. So I didn't really get to actually savor this wine. Maybe that's what I'll do now, since I'm more familiar with this porting process than I am with VIA. So maybe now I can actually enjoy this wine. Sanda says, the SAT75 always amazes me. I am a lucky man. I am indeed. I am. Not only was I lucky to get a SAT75, but I was super lucky to, I think I was second to last to getting the cloud white. And I almost didn't get it too. In my excitement, I reached out to Upas and said, hey man, I'm so excited, I got the cloud white. And he looked at his chart and he's like, no you didn't. You didn't get the cloud white. And I'm like, what? But obviously I got the cloud white, so yeah, he just lost track of the sheet, I think. Something like that. Okay, let's see. Let me close VIA. I'm not gonna be able to do much with VIA without the actual board. Let's turn off Discord so you guys don't hear any of those sounds. All right. Let's do this as quick as possible. So this is how you port a board into QMK. Usually, if a new board has come out, people like to do it through Keyboard Firmware Builder. And it's fine, you know, Keyboard Firmware Builder works. But the way it works is you just upload the JSON file that you're sent. You click upload, you navigate to the file, you press open, and you get it. Just like that. Right? All that good stuff. See? And typically, you press compile, download your hex file, and flash it onto your board, and you're done. But to be fair, you don't have as much configurability like QMK Configurator, you know? But what this does tell you is it tells you the row pins, it tells you the column pins, even tells you the LEDs. In this case, this board has no LED lights whatsoever. And this is its matrix, right? So if you watch any of my earlier VODs, I take all this information and I manually put it into QMK, manually fill out all of the blanks, and it works. It works just fine. But ever since then, like, hopefully we'll do this with the VIA stuff that I just showed, but we now have automation for that. Thanks to No Roads Left. You can take that same exact JSON file. Let's pick it. And boom. This is literally all the code you need to get QMK Configurator working. And submit it into QMK directly. Of course, you need to change a few things. Like look at this. Copyright 2020. Replace with your name. Please replace it with your name. You know, so stuff like that. And see, like all of these numbers. Just like fix this up, you know, all that good stuff. So typically what we want to do next is Actually go into QMK right now. Hold on, just setting it all up for you guys. Okay, I think I'm ready. Let me. Okay, so we're back at the terminal. So as I was saying, a lot of QMK is already completely automated. So to start a new keyboard, you want to go into your util directory, like so, and look for a script called new keyboard, which is this guy right here. You run it, press enter. Keyboard name, we'll call it the Majbritt, or the Majbritt if you want to pronounce it correctly. Press enter. Keyboard type AVR, it is indeed an AVR board. Your name. And there we go. We're pretty much done with all of the default files on it. So now just navigate to that directory. And we will we'll go there next. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, all of this stuff is cookie cutter code. See? Cookie cutter code, which we will now need to replace. So at this point, once this is done, I like to do an initial commit, just to make sure that I have stuff, you know. Once that's done, first file I like to pay attention to is the README. This needs to be, cleaned up. He has not sent me photos of the board, so I have no clue what this looks like. All I know from what he's told me is that it is an Alice lookalike with arrow keys. Keyboard maintainer, let's just put my name in there since I'll be working on this. Hardware supported, Majbritt PCB, hardware availability, TBD. That should be all that's needed right now. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that we actually already have the code here. So what you need to do is the most intense coding you will ever do in your life. Go to config.h and copy and paste all this code. Into config.h in your actual code, like so. It's intense, right? And basically you do that same process through all the files that are there. Let's see what's next. Rules.mk. Okay, let's copy rules.mk. I know, man, this is like, I'm like sweating here. I'm sweating here with the intensity of the difficulty. Actually, What's difficult is switching between workspaces in OBS. That's what's difficult. Or rules.mk, right? Paste. Alright, so I'm not gonna show all of it anymore. I'm just gonna copy and paste. Keyboard.c. Literally copy and pasting here. And yeah, I think I've copy and pasted to the best of my innate ability. So once you're done there, it should just be a matter of compiling. Oops. Oh. I failed to copy and paste properly. Let me try that again, folks. I failed in my copy and paste. Let's try again. Oh, it's config.h that I screwed up. Okay. Let's try that. What? Oh, my header file got screwed up. Let's fix that up. Majbritt. There we go. Let's see, who's talking here? Xenophobia! You're back. People are talking about Oblivion. Okay, so that's the thing. I was gonna get in on GMK Godspeed today, and then I saw Oblivion. Oblivion base kit is only $10 more than GMK Godspeed, and it ships as soon as I buy it. Well, maybe not as soon as I buy it, but within the week for $10 more. So today I sat at my desk and looked at both GMK sets and been like, do I pick one of my favorite sets in GMK, which is GMK Godspeed, or do I go for Oblivion? Like, back and forth, back and forth. At the end of the day, I did not buy anything. I'm just gonna sleep on it and think about it a bit more. But yeah, I did not get Oblivion. See who else is talking here. Blue Luster says, all of this coding stuff seems so advanced for me. Well, the good thing is, I did not do any coding at all. All I did was copy and paste from Xenophobia's tool. And as long as you copy it from one file to the other, you should be fine. Like, what I'm doing right now is just changing all the replace with your names to actually have my name. But everything else was just copy and pasted. See, look at all that. Like, sure, everything's It's easier if you know how to navigate a terminal, but that's actually something you can look up relatively quickly. But yeah, looks like everything's in. Let's build it again. It's building. All right. Firmware's done. When did I start this? I started this at around 9:15. So within 15 minutes, I made QMK firmware. Simply because it's copy and pasting. What is this software? This software that I'm using right now is just a text editor. It's called VS Code. It's an open source project by Microsoft. With VS Code, you can pretty much code whatever you want. QMK is written in C, but you can do stuff in Ruby, you can do stuff in Java, whatever you want. Yeah. The software I'm writing is QMK firmware though. Yeah, so 15 minutes we can do all that. As I said earlier on the stream, I'm trying to integrate VIA into my workflow. So in addition to creating a default key map, I'm going to make a VIA key map, which will be a copy of the default key map, but with VIA enabled. And once again, to enable VIA on your keyboard, you just need to do VIA_enable, all caps, equals yes, followed by LTO_enable equals yes. LTO is link time optimization, which makes sure you compile in the most optimized fashion, saving as much room on your microcontroller as possible. So once you've done that, you can compile the VIA firmware. And now this board has VIA firmware. I'm gonna wait till Seb, the designer and owner of this keyboard, to be online before I start doing any of the VIA stuff, because I need to actually test it. I have no means of testing this right now, which is unfortunate. Are there keyboard viruses? Not that I know of, but there are vulnerabilities in which, like, okay, so a year or two ago, we actually had some people who, how can I say this? A year or two ago, there was this notion that, oh, why bother getting QMK Toolbox? Why even bother getting VIA? You can flash your board through your browser. And you could do it through Google Chrome. You could do it through, or at least I think Google Chrome is the one that's most popular of doing it. But the issue with that is, if a browser can flash your keyboard, anyone can flash your keyboard. You know? And who knows what they put on it? They could put something, they could put a keylogger on it, they could put, I don't know, they could just brick your board straight out of the bat. Yeah. No, hold on. Let me show my board. Since I'm pretty much done with coding, there's not much I can do anymore. Sanda says, that'll be terrifying. Yeah, I know. You just never know. That's the whole reason why we don't flash. Like, we could make QMK configurator flash your board as well, but that is a security threat. And Google has published papers indicating that it is a security threat. So we don't do that. We don't do that at all. Yeah. Just drinking my wine here. I can now savor this wine. So one of the things that I've noticed with this is like I mentioned it earlier, I can really taste the raisins. But on the second glass, especially once I've twirled the wine around and let it breathe a bit, the raisins start to actually taste like caramel. It's like a mixture of caramel and raisin, so it tastes really, really sweet. And it's funny because I've been doing this porting with port series for the last, it's not a year, it's been more like 10 months, 11 months. And it's only been the last 2 months where I've really been able to start getting a feel for what I'm drinking. This took a while. But yeah. Blue Luster says grape juice. No, this is, well, I guess this is grape juice. It's not your typical grape juice. Yeah, but I did this really quick. Droshna, if he's available, or Xenophobia, will tell you that if the port takes long, and if I'm not done by the time I get halfway through the second glass, or possibly the third glass, I start having a lot of difficulty. I start making like the most stupid mistakes. Like I forget, like in one stream, I forgot how to write C, and I didn't put semicolons at the end. You know, it's like, what's going on? Vector Newen says, will the Dz60rgb-ansi VIA files be available? Yes, they will. As soon as I submit them, and as soon as they are approved and released, they will be available for all to consume. But the thing with VIA is you have two groups of people that need to do the approval. You have the QMK folk, myself included, who will review and approve the VIA firmware. Then you have the VIA folk, who need to review and approve the VIA files for it. So depending on who goes first, or if problems are found on one, it could take a long time. So what I've been doing, at least the last 3 keyboards I did, I submitted QMK firmware first, and as soon as that was approved, I then filed the VIA one. Just in case, if anything was found with QMK firmware, I would have time to change it. Like for example, right now, let me show you guys the thing that I am blocked on. Here, the thing that I'm blocked on right now. Here. Okay. There are 4 pull requests. One of them is mine. Here, 1up60rgb. Opened 6 days ago by Mech Merlin. Right? And Wilbur had some issues. He says to remove this. So I'll be removing that probably after the stream. And he also has some comments for me. Switch matrix chords not needed on blocker keys, which I have no clue what that means. I'm going to have to reach out to him. Split backspace keys should be alpha color. And he has that winky smile, him and his sense of color. And then also for consistency with other layouts, the options should be in order to left to right, top to bottom. Split backspace, anti-ISO, left shift, right shift, bottom row. If I'm remembering this correctly, I did bottom row first. I went from bottom to top, so I'm gonna need to fix this around. So as soon as he commented and as soon as I read it, I just said, thanks, Wilba. I will make these changes accordingly. And yeah, I'll probably be doing this later. Blue Luster says, is it a hot swappable board? DZ60? Yes, DZ60 is a hot swappable board. And he also says, do you have a Savage 65? No, I do not. The 65 that I wanted during that time period was the Iron 165, and I did not get in on it. So yeah, I'm just gonna save my money until I can get in on the extras, hopefully. How do you know whether a PCB fits the case, the Savage 65? The KBD67 Mark II will fit the Savage 65. That is the only confirmed non-Savage 65 PCB that will fit the Savage 65. Geekster says, go to the Canon Keys Discord and get to asking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the KBD67 Mark II is the only board that can fit that outside of the actual Savage 65 PCB. Yeah, this is probably one of the tastier ports that I've had on the channel. It might go on my list of favorites. Like currently I have 3 favorites. Yeah, I should probably, maybe next month or something, I'll like talk about all of my favorite ports. But yeah, this is probably going to go into my list. Xenophobia says exclamation point port. It's actually exclamation point drink. Because I'm not always drinking port, but I am always drinking something. Yeah, I'm just sipping away on my drink. Yeah, Xenophobia, I was telling chat that when you first drink this, you can definitely taste the raisins. But it's not until the second glass that you really start to taste the caramel in it. Have I tried Madeira wine? No, I have not tried it. Ooh. Lots of activity I'm seeing. Mr. X has followed. A person of color has followed. Talisman used 11 bits. Thank you so much. Geekster says, do you already have a Savage 65 or is it what you're looking for? I am not looking for a Savage 65. I am saving my money for an Iron 165 extra whenever those go live. There are a few people I know who are trying to let go of their Savage 65, but I'm gonna try my utmost to not give in. Because like, I think it's a nice board, but I don't know, I just feel like it's like at that, it's at that point where it's a really nice board, but if you just save like an extra $100, you can get something a whole lot nicer. So that's what I'm trying to do. You know, like if I had all the money in the world, I probably would get one, but you know, stuff is limited. I'm also saving my money for meetups. Yeah, speaking of meetups, if you guys are just joining right now, I will be at the Vancouver meetup, the Vancouver, Canada meetup this coming Sunday. So definitely hit me up if you're in the area. I believe we are, well, I would like to, on Saturday evening, I would like to do some kind of bar crawl with the local folk, since I've never really done that in Vancouver. My wife will be with me, so we're just checking stuff out. What would be $100? That's a lot better. I would say if I had gotten in on the Iron 165, that was a little over 100 more during the group buy phase. Blue Luster, are you in Vancouver? If so, definitely stop by and say hi. Satisfaction is 100 more. Yeah, I think my invoice, here, let me look at my invoice really quick. Actually, no, I don't have it saved. But I swear it was around $400 because I got the cloud white. I'm just killing time as I'm drinking the last bits of my port. One thing I need to do before the meetup is I need to open this case back up because it's missing a few burger mounts. So maybe tomorrow or something, I'll just open it up and I put these on. Brainbow Roll says, if you enjoy ports, you should give Madeira a try. I do enjoy ports, but the main reason I drink ports is because the name of this particular segment is porting with ports. So I need something. I need like a keyboard related topic that rhymes with Madeira. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. You have your fingers crossed for Chimera 65. Yeah, that's another board that I wanted. Like, I feel like Chimera is similar to the Satisfaction. It kind of looks the same, except it doesn't have the knob. You know. Here, let me show you. Let me show you the knob. My ramen knob. Ramen knob. I haven't quite figured out what to do with it yet. Maybe one day I will. It's kind of more like a novelty right now. I'm actually almost considering taking off the ramen knob and putting it on my guitar. Just putting a regular one here. Yeah. That I might actually redo this part. I might just want two 1.5 U keys. But I've just always used 3 1Us. I don't have, well, it's programmed. It's programmed to whatever the default is. Right now, I have it set to volume. But what I want to set it to is workspaces. Especially when I'm like going through like between a website, between documentation, and between the terminal and VS Code, especially on stream. It would be so much faster if I could just use this to like switch through it. But I have to figure that out first. Yeah, this is probably like, when I built this board, I definitely liked the board. But how I built it, I'm not too satisfied with. Like, it's like the switches are really, really smooth. This is probably my board with the smoothest switches, but the sound isn't all that great, to be honest. That's what made me really unsatisfied, I guess. Yeah. Like, for example, here, let me turn off my music. Oh, wait, music's already turned off. Excellent. See, so I have another palm-plated board, Series 60. I think this, okay, so this is a palm-plated board with the best gaming switch in the world, Creams. Creams with Gateron yellow stem, actually. And I think this sounds so much better. Oh. Let me actually type somewhere else. There we go. Dude, this one sounds so much nicer. Here, let me actually angle my microphone towards it. Both of these are palm plated. So the switches in these are Gateron inks with the UHM WPE stem. That's lubed. This is not. So my best sounding board is still my Volcano. Yeah, it's like I keep talking about this. At some point in the future, I might rebuild this. If the noise bothers me, if the noise keeps bothering me, I'm gonna rebuild this board. See, listen to this. This is my favorite right now. Listen to that backspace. Yeah, this is like my best sounding board. Like, I feel like this is my favorite layout board, but this is my best sounding board. So it's kind of like I'm conflicted. Yeah. What plate is in this one? This one is a brass plate. Brass plate gasket mount. Yeah. So the next board that I plan to build is going to be my Xeno with Holy Pandas. And another board I'm planning to build are Tangerines with cherry tops, because that actually sounded really good. So we'll see. Stay tuned for my build streams in the near future. All right, I think I've finished drinking. I'm not gonna pour myself another glass. Only 2 a night at most. Trying to stay healthy here. All right. Tangerines in the Volcano. Tangerines in the Volcano, I'm not sure if that would sound any better. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and sticking with me as I figured out VIA. Like, as I said, I'm still learning. I feel like by the time I really felt comfortable doing QMK firmware programming, it was probably maybe 3 months in. So this is gonna take a while. As you've noticed, I'm still not completely fluid in what I want to do. Like today I made a mistake where I completely botched up the rows and the columns. It's like, it's gonna take me a while to really be like, oh, I messed up. I know exactly what I did. Like, it still took me 15 minutes just to debug it, but it will just keep getting better. If you want to start putting VIA on your own boards, I definitely recommend viewing this VOD again once I upload it into YouTube, which needs to happen after 24 hours due to terms of service and like all of that. I will be putting timestamps as to the exact moments that I'm doing a particular task, so you don't have to watch the entire 2.5 hour stream. But yeah, thank you guys for viewing. Thank you guys. Thanks to all my subscribers and everyone who donated bits and all that. This channel definitely could not exist with you guys, and I appreciate all of you very much. My next stream will not be this Saturday or this Sunday because I'll be in Vancouver. So if you're there, definitely drop by and say hello. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Goodbye now.